I'm the caretaker of a nostalgia factory, a custodian of old things.
We're not just talking about a cabinet or two. Phil's Sunman has millions, yes, that's right, millions of collectible treasures hidden away behind this unassuming shopfront on Goodwood Road in Goodwood. It's an Aladdin's cave of bows, buttons and boxes, porcelain and postcards, glassware and shop goods. Phil, this is the most extraordinary collection. When and how did it all start?
1994, I retired from the South Australian education system. I was a school principal then, and I was unemployed for a week, and I thought, gee, what am I going to do? So I turned to one of my passions, and that was collecting. So I started this shop.
So what did you start collecting? Was there something that caught your eye first? Were you a collector of books or postcards or china? What was it initially?
According to my mother, at the age of 3, I had the biggest dinky toy collection on the block. This is in 1952. And I was trading in dinky toys at the age of 3 with the bigger kids in the block.
And that trading has never really stopped. Now, almost anything you can think of, you'll find somewhere in Phil's collection. And if he hasn't got it, he'll certainly do his darndest to find it, making him a favourite of local filmmakers as well as collectors.
I know Scott Hicks has been in. Lots of people making movies where they want very specific things. So we help provide the information and the exhibits. We lease them out or sometimes sell them to the film companies.
Phil's treasure trove also houses a veritable feast of South Australian history, with an extraordinary collection of memorabilia, such as postcards, diaries and photographs, tracing the life in our state back over generations.
Some of the stories are the most amazing. For example, a collection of Gallipoli postcards that was brought in here not long ago. A 17-year-old boy from Adelaide in the 10th Battalion writing back to his mother via the postcards. Very sad.
Is it a special feeling to be a custodian of history?
Yes, it's a big responsibility. You feel like you're a gatekeeper into nostalgia, and it's wonderful when you have children come in. I often have students, their teachers have asked them to research the Hills Hoist clothesline. So we go to the photos and we show them the Hills Hoists.
Well, I have to tell you, Phil, I won't be bringing my 4 little ones in here. It terrifies me just walking around. You do, as I said, you have an extraordinary collection and things that I just have never seen before, like the antique supermarket. Where do you find those original cakes of soap and original wrappers?
A lot of that came from auction. It's what we call new old stock. Shops that have closed down in the 50s and early 60s.
But I can't believe people would keep those things.
They do, in old sheds. A lot of that came out of a shop, an old grocer's shop that had closed down in the 1950s, and the family had kept it in a shed. So we had packets of cornflakes and Wheat Bix right back into the 50s. And the packaging collectors, they love to get their hands on the old packets and tins and
just amazing.
Old calendars. There's an apothecary display there from an old chemist shop on the Port Road. So we've got all the bottles and the chemist jars. It's just quite an incredible collection.
So can you name for me just the one thing that's really surprised you?
A ventriloquist dummy. A magnificent dummy that was brought to me last year. This chap, he was in his 70s, was a performer here in Adelaide on radio and early television, and he brought his dummy in and said, "Phil, what do you think of this?" I thought, I've got to have it.
But like all passionate collectors, Phil always has one eye open for that next have to have.
What I would like to get my hands on, more of the South Australian early historical items. We do have a large collection of that now, but I would like more. And I love the photographs, the cameos of history. You know, they're frozen in time. To look at King William Street when we had the tram system running through, not like it is today, but the old tram system, and the steamers pulling in at Port Adelaide. and the two-winged aeroplanes landing at Parafield Gardens, and the early John Martin's Christmas pageant.
Phil, I have to ask you, is your wife also a collector?
As mad as I am.
Good.
Just as passionate. Yes.